We're going to completely flip the script on what you probably think you know about selling digital products. We're looking at a really fascinating case study today that directly challenges a massive, very loud narrative on the internet right now. Honestly, if you've been anywhere near the digital art or online business space recently, you know exactly what narrative I'm talking about.
Right. You've definitely heard this exact sentiment. The idea that AI art has zero value, that it's all just mass-produced junk or slop, and that literally no one is actually going to pull out their credit card to buy it. And, it's pretty easy to scroll through an endless feed of AI-generated images online and just assume the whole market is totally saturated and completely worthless.
But $40,000! That number right there brutally shatters that whole expectation. That represents the revenue generated from a single digital product, specifically an AI wallpaper pack that was made in just one afternoon. We're not talking about a year-long software project here or some massive e-commerce store with physical inventory. One single afternoon of focused work generating images. And that really forces us to step back and ask, what is the actual reality of monetizing AI creations right now? So Section 1, the myth of AI slop, a reality check. Because once you understand what was actually sold, that whole myth just falls apart completely.
What's genuinely fascinating is how simple the actual offering is. We're talking about a beautifully textured digital pack with a very specific acrylic paint aesthetic. It's got these rich textures, deep colors, and layered shadows that perfectly mimic real paint. The creator packaged up 17 variations for desktop, 15 for mobile, and like I mentioned, did this entirely in one afternoon. The result? Over 2,200 individual sales to date. It works because it solves a real market desire for clean, highly aesthetic tech setups. People really want their screens to look beautiful, and it turns out they're absolutely happy to pay for a curated, high-quality solution that saves them time.
Moving on to Section 2, crafting with Midjourney, the economics. Let's break down the exact tool stack used to create this much value so incredibly quickly.
This is such a huge point. It perfectly highlights the massive contrast between the traditional barrier to entry and the modern AI approach. Think about it. If you wanted to hire a professional artist to physically paint 30+ distinct, high-quality acrylic canvases, then digitize them, then format them for multiple screen sizes, you're looking at thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars, and literally weeks of time. It's a huge financial risk if the product ends up not selling. But the new reality? A Midjourney subscription runs between $10 and $120 a month. You add in a single afternoon of your own time, and your risk is basically zero. You have this ultimate freedom to just experiment without going broke.
And here is the crucial takeaway. The real competitive advantage here isn't knowing some secret, complex code. It lies entirely in your aesthetic taste and your willingness to iterate. There's this wild misconception out there that selling AI art requires a magical prompt. But the reality from our source material is that this creator didn't use any crazy prompts at all. They just browsed Midjourney's Explore page, found a painty aesthetic they vibed with, and started typing in simple phrases. The magic actually happened during the experimentation phase, generating heavily, refining the words, and relying on a strong background and design to curate those final pieces. Your taste, that is your moat.
All right, Section 3, the Shopify sales machine. Let's dive into this seamless delivery mechanism that actually turns this simple, creative idea into a wildly efficient one-man business. Just think about how massive this profit margin is. This is exactly what makes digital products so incredibly attractive, because your only real costs are your time, a basic Shopify plan to host the store, a tiny credit card processing fee, and your AI subscription. The margins on this are almost entirely pure profit. Essentially, 99 cents of every single dollar goes straight to the bottom line. You don't need a team, you don't need warehouse staff, no physical inventory. It's the ultimate lean business model. It lets one single person scale to an unbelievable level without taking on massive overhead.
The actual infrastructure is beautifully simple. It's a basic Shopify store, an automated digital delivery plugin, and a simple zip file for the customer to download. That's the whole shebang. But the real secret sauce for getting people to actually buy, it's showcasing those wallpapers on actual phones, on real computer monitors, and in stunning desk setups. It's exactly like seeing clothes on a model instead of just lying flat on a white background. Customers need to vividly visualize how this digital product is going to upgrade their own personal workspaces. Giving them that real-world context is what actually makes them click buy. Which brings us to Section 4, the product-first philosophy. Because I know a lot of people are thinking, well, sure, this works if you already have a massive following.
Let's look at why that isn't actually true.
This philosophy completely flips traditional internet business advice on its head. The old way tells you to grind for years, build up a massive audience, and only then try to figure out what they might want to buy. But the product-first way proves that if you make a genuinely great product right out of the gate, something super high quality that saves people time and fulfills a visual desire, the audience will naturally follow. The product itself literally becomes your best marketing tool.
And we see this reality playing out in action right here. A huge portion of these buyers, they weren't loyal superfans. They were just people casually scrolling through Instagram, Twitter, or YouTube who happened to see an incredibly cool acrylic paint setup and immediately wanted it for themselves. It's much like how the artist W.A. Braunhorst built massive demand, showcasing his unique acrylic style first, letting the compelling work attract the buyers directly. The quality of the art speaks way louder than the name of the artist. If you build something people genuinely want, they really don't need a deep parasocial relationship with you to buy it.
Okay, Section 5, your blueprint for success. We've seen the proof, we know the tools, now let's lay out your actionable step-by-step strategy.
The entire operation thrives on keeping things incredibly simple and relentlessly focused on delivering value. First, pick an aesthetic that people actually want. Don't just create something for an audience of one. Second, use your low-cost AI tools to generate heavily until you refine a distinct, high-quality style. Third, package it up cleanly into a simple zip file, but market it by showing it in stunning real-world contexts. Fourth, remove absolutely all friction from the buying process using a platform like Shopify. And finally, put those contextual images in front of people where they're already hanging out looking for inspiration.
So that leaves us with the ultimate question. The only real barrier to this highly scalable 99% profit model isn't access to expensive tools, and it certainly isn't the lack of an existing audience. The blueprints are out there, the software is practically free, and the market clearly has a massive appetite for it. The only real barrier is simply the willingness to actually put in the effort, experiment with the aesthetics, and do the work to set up the systems. So the question remains, will you take the initiative to create value, or are you just going to stay on the sidelines and keep calling it slop?